Motor skills learning and effective coaching and performance. The contents are definition of terms, cognitive phrase, associative phrase, and autonomous stage. Motor skills learning is a set of internal process associated with practice or experience, leading to relatively permanent changes in the capability of skills, movement, behavior. Capabilities. Once a skill has been learned, the potential or likelihood for exhibiting skills performance is quite high. Motor program is an abstract representation of movement that centrally organizes and controls the many degree of freedom involved in performing an action. Coaching is unlocking a person's potential to maximize their own performance. It is helping them to learn rather than teaching them. Athletic performance, carrying out of specific physical routines or procedures by one who is trained or skilled in physical activities.
So hi, let's tackle about cognitive stage. This stage understand what to do. It will be extremely difficult for someone to learn a skill without receiving any prior knowledge, whether that knowledge is visual or verbal. For example, consider the butterfly stroke in swimming. It is fairly complicated and somewhat unnatural stroke. It's really difficult, especially you are not a swimmer. It's hard to learn a performance or movement if you don't have declarative knowledge. In other words, motor learning begins with cognitive stage and the processing of information. The athlete in this stage are unable to focus on the aspects of environment. Example, external events like teammates positioning. This stage is characterized by inconsistency, numerous errors that are gross in nature. Also, the demand sensor system in vision. In this stage is complete when the athlete can reasonably execute the skill the way it is demonstrated. During this stage, the beginning athlete ingests information and organizes into this information form that will ultimately lead to the creation of motor program. Also, this stage need instruction, guidance, slow motion drills, video analysis, augmented feedback, and other coaches technique are highly effective in this stage.
Rules of the coaches. Develop basic movement pattern. Cue should be short and precise. Use a lot of demos. Communicate aspect of the skills.
Hi guys, so my topic is associative stage. So during this stage, the athlete works at making movement adjustments and stringing together small movement skills. So this stage is also called as a motor stage. And also during this stage, its focus is skill refinement to eliminate extraneous movements and make fewer or less gross errors. And also, the problem to solve is the associative stage is learning how to perform a skill. Let's say for example, For example, a volleyball athlete or player, he or she is trying to learn how to spike or to receive the ball. So, and in order for the player or the athlete to minimize or has a less gross errors, he or she needs to learn to focus and adjust in learning a small movements. Okay, lastly, this is how the coach see for his or her players. Okay, for number one, we have movements become quicker. So second, we have performance becomes more efficient. The third is improvements and less dramatic. Fourth, self-talk is reduced. Fifth, performance becomes more consistent. And the last is performers can critique their own practice. That would be all. Thank you.
Rules of the coaches. Design practice to optimize skills refinement so athletes can quickly adapt to perform seating demands. Provide variety of practice, experience, and more feedback. Correct and allow athletes to undergo relearning process. Goal is to perform the skills both accurately and consistently.
Hi everyone, I'm Dwight Galolo and I'm the one who is assigned for the topic, which is the autonomous phase or the autonomous stage. During the autonomous stage, improvements come slowly, but there is a good consistency of the performance. So most of the skill is performed without thinking because the athlete requires less attention to basics. Instead, an athlete should give more attention to higher order cognitive activities such as game strategies. So what I'm trying to say here is if an athlete perform a certain skill in an easy way or so easily, that is because an athlete trained or practiced very well. That made his or her skill become his or her second nature. So now let's talk about the roles of the coach during this stage. So as a coach, you should help athletes maintain their level of skill and motivate them to continue to improve more. So psychological skills training is very effective during this stage, especially when dealing with anxiety in competitions. And lastly, to end this topic, during this stage, the learner or athlete can go up to the line knowing all the answers he or she was asking or thinking during the cognitive and the associative phase. So that's all for me. Peace, I'm out.
Rules of the coaches. Help athletes to maintain of their level of skills and motivate athletes to continue to improve. And lastly, be careful when wanting to change a highly skilled athlete's well-learned technique. Small changes can be made, but major changes in technique put their athletes back into cognitive phase.